Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Some time ago, towards the end of 2020, I made the decision to buy an electric car, specifically this electric car, 2019 Volkswagen e-Golf. I couldn't find the car that I wanted, the specific e-Golf that I wanted, in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium, where I live, so I had to look further afield. And I eventually found my perfect e-Golf, if you like, in Germany. Inevitably, that's where the car is manufactured. So I had to travel to Germany to pick up the car that I bought. It wasn't just to cross the border. No, it was the other side of Munich, in a town called Vier, just beyond Munich. So having handed over the cash, I then traveled all the way to Munich, all the way to Vier, to sign on the dotted line, pick up the keys, and drive the car back here to Brussels, Belgium. What follows is the story of that journey, a story of 800 kilometers, 4 Ionity charges, 2 days, 1 snowstorm, and 1 finely trimmed lockdown beard. I had to get rid of it. The beard and I, we just didn't get along. You know, I mean, let's call it creative differences. We just had to split. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the driver's seat of the 2019 Volkswagen e-Golf. This car has allegedly 200 kilometers of range, approximately 125-130 miles, and I will drive this car from here in Vier, the east of Bavaria, all the way to Frankfurt today, approximately 400 kilometers, which will entail at least 1 charging stop on the way, probably 2. It says 185 kilometers on the clock as my range, because today it is cold, external temperature 3.5 degrees centigrade, but there's ice on the floor, so I think it's a little bit colder than that. Ice on the roads in places I've seen, So I think it's a little bit colder, but still 185 kilometers is enough to get from here to Frankfurt. Sorry, here to Frankfurt. From here to my next stop, which is Ingolstadt. Ingolstadt is approximately 140 kilometers from here. Then from Ingolstadt, we will go to Würzburg, and then from Würzburg to Frankfurt. Then there'll be a quick overnight stay, and then we do the whole thing again tomorrow, Frankfurt to Brussels. Wish me luck. We'll see if we can make it. Switch off the air conditioning fan, and I get 20 kilometers of range extra. Well, that can't be a bad thing. This car is almost completely silent. Now, it's my first time in an electric car. No, actually my second time. I was driven here in an ID3. But quite frankly, being in the driver's seat, the feeling is a little bit bizarre. First impressions, I would say, it's as if you have not switched the car on and you're rolling downhill. And then suddenly you wake up and think, oh wait, I haven't switched the car on. You start the engine. But no, it is supposed to be this way.
Please take the first exit and then follow the B388 towards München. Please follow the B388 for 16 kilometers.
16 kilometers. I've actually gone up to 196. I was 195 2 kilometers ago. Okay. I see why they call it a gasometer. That gun's a little bit wild, but hey, it's all I've got. $74 kilometers for this trip so far. 138 kilometers listed as remaining. So far the GOM has guessed pretty well, actually. But now I'm off the freeway, highway, motorway, and I'm in B mode in an urban setting. And it does feel very different. What I have noted is that when you are in D mode, which is the free rolling mode, which doesn't have recuperation, you still do have recuperation, but only when you brake. You hit the brakes, you get recuperation. But when you're in B mode, then it's pretty much one pedal driving. You lift off the accelerator and boom, it starts recuperating. It starts regen immediately. Here, for example, I lift off the gas and it's regen. I'm on the accelerator, I'm off the accelerator, it's regen, and it's slowing down. And that is very different from driving any other kind of car. In fact, it might stop before these lights, before the line. Nope. I'll have to apply the brake. Okay. So as I said, the GOM is doing pretty well. I won't say I'm impressed because it's still my first time, but I'm not unimpressed, let's say. and I'll check in again when we get a little bit closer to Ingolstadt. $99.8 kilometers for this journey so far. 99.9. 100 kilometers into the journey so far, and I have precisely 101 kilometers left on the gum. As I said, the gum is pretty good. I started out with 195, I believe. Now, given the present conditions, it looks like I'm going to get a little over 200. But having said that, guess what? It has started snowing. Who knew? My very first drive in an e-Golf, and I get sub-zero temperatures and snow. Well, there you go. Let's just assume it can't get much worse than this, because my range is going to love this idea of ploughing through a haze of solid objects at sub-zero temperatures. But still, that said, my range seems to be coping pretty well. 200 kilometers in these conditions is really pretty good, I would say. So I'll see how this goes. I'm a little under 40 kilometers. There's a little under 40 kilometers to go till I reach the present destination, which is Ingolstadt. I'm a little bit outside Ingolstadt at the moment, and I'll check in again when I reach said destination. Speak to you soon. Okay, I have 55 kilometers left, and we are essentially here in Ingolstadt, just outside of the center. 147.8 kilometers is the current trip length. So now I have to find a charger. There is an Ionity charger not far from here, just north of Ingolstadt, about 10 kilometers to the north. That should be okay. If not, then I'll have to find a plan B. Wish me luck. Okay, I think I've found a route. I'll actually have to double back on myself a little bit because I've gone past the place where I need to be apparently for this charger. The nearest Ionity charger is about 15 kilometers from here, and I have 54 kilometers in the tank, so to speak. So theoretically, I can make it. Well, I'll see how this goes. I'm really not sure, but I'll double back and then take the auto route and go up. But I've set the sat-nav to the nearest hotel to that Ionity charger, just in case. If anything goes wrong, then they're the hotel I can stay in here overnight. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Okay, there is an electric charger here.
After
Yes,
200 meters.
Quiet. Tago. May you excuse me, sir. Okay, there is an electric charger here. I am now at the service station just north of Ingolstadt, after Lady Satnav sent me the wrong way to the south instead of the north. But I'm now at the correct service station, and there is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the camera battery finally died. I then pulled into the charging station and faced the challenge of charging an electric car for the first time ever in my entire life. To be honest, creating an Ionity account instantly without any preparation was very easy. All you need is a functioning smartphone, some internet access, and a usable credit card. That's it. What happened next, however, was something of a comedy. Having created my Ionity account, I input my details into the charger, plugged in my car, and nothing happened. The car was blocked and refused to start charging. I tried again, and still the same result. The car refused to charge. I then switched to a different charger. Same result. The car was still blocked and still refused to charge. So I moved on to a third charger, and once again the same result. No charge. By now I was getting a little bit worried, and more than just a little bit cold. So I admitted defeat and called Ionity customer service. And quite frankly, Ionity's customer service center was excellent. I explained my situation, and after a few more attempts, we finally worked out what the problem was. The car was still in gear. It was in neutral instead of park, and the e-Golf, and I suspect most EVs, will refuse to accept a charge if the car is not in park. #facepalm. So I put her in park, and the charging worked perfectly, and I breathed an enormous and rather icy sigh of relief. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are charging. Finally. It's been something of a saga, a real soap opera, but finally, as you can see, this car is charging. 183 kilometers we have put on. We arrived with 171 kilometers traveled on the clock, and now we're almost full. It took approximately 40 minutes to get from I arrived here with 14%, and about 35 kilometers left of range, and now 182. It's about 10 minutes to go before it's full, so we can confirm that the Ionity charging station just outside of Ingolstadt works properly. But a word of advice: do not, I repeat, do not attempt to charge your car or to make the Ionity charging station work whilst your car is not in the parked gear. I left it in drive. I left it in neutral, I think, and it refused to connect to the Ionity charger. Connection failed, connection error. Did that 3 times, 4 times with 3 different chargers until I actually worked out what was wrong. Put the car in parked, and it worked fine. So, a note to self: do not, I repeat, do not attempt to charge your car if it's in drive. Always put it in park first, and then your Ionity charger will work fine. And this is turning into a real Bjorn Neeland style saga, because yes, I have some food. Now, I will not, I repeat, not display myself eating this stuff, because normally I never, ever eat in my car. Never, ever eat in my car. But COVID restrictions notwithstanding, they've actually shut down the restaurant, so you can only order a takeaway. And as you can see, we have a veritable Christmas scene outside. Sub-zero temperatures and snow on the ground. So it's either eat outside in the cold when it's -2, or eat in my car. Break the habits of a lifetime. I think I'll eat outside. Hey, standards are standards. Okay, now the next stop is somewhere just outside of Würzburg, which is about 160 kilometers from here. And then the next stop after that will be Frankfurt, where I plan to stay the night. I'll be checking in later if and when I make it to Würzburg. We'll see how that goes. And here it is, 49 minutes from 14% to 95%, 15 kilowatts, not the fastest, not the most powerful, but nevertheless it's put 26.7 kilowatt hours into the car in 49 minutes, which is enough time to have a quick toilet break and get something to eat. And eat it outside of the car in the freezing cold. Well, that looks like it's all done. 100% charge, 222 kilometers of range. All the twos are on the board. 171 kilometers was the previous trip. This trip, the next one will now be 161. According to the sat-nav, from here to Würzburg, and then from Würzburg to Frankfurt. Okay then, we'll see how this goes, and I'll report when I reach Würzburg. Goodness me, ladies and gentlemen, here we are just outside Würzburg. 165 kilometers, well, to be more precise, 164.9, with 54 kilometers left on the clock. Okay, well, that was interesting. That seemed a lot easier, to be honest. And it's the second Ionity. I'm thinking that this is a good tactic to, well, a la Tesla, as Teslas do, to jump from supercharger to supercharger. You jump from Ionity charger to Ionity charger, rather than aiming for a specific location or a specific address. When you're en route, you go from charger to charger to charger until you reach your destination. That seems to be how Tesla does it, and I have to admit that seems to be a better strategy. Last time I aimed for a specific address, tried to reach Ingolstadt, and when I reached Ingolstadt I found that I was a little bit too far from the nearest Ionity charger, and I had to double back and then go to the Ionity charger. So this time I've aimed specifically to arrive at the Ionity charger. There's only one problem with that strategy. It would appear so far, most Ionity chargers don't seem to have a specific address associated with them. You can't put in Ionity charger into the sat-nav and say, I want the Ionity charger in Würzburg. Set the route, because it just won't find it, which is, I think, perhaps something that's lacking, or I haven't found yet, in this particular sat-nav for this particular e-Golf. E-Golfs, I believe, electric cars in general, I believe, should have finding a charger as a sort of priority in their sat-nav. Logically, well, that would seem to make sense. But no bother, you simply find an address that's usable by the sat-nav, the address that's closest to the charger that you want to use. And then when you get within spitting distance, you ignore that nice lady who gives you directions and just head straight for the charger, which shouldn't be too far away, within 5 kilometers. And that's what I did this time, and that seems to have worked. And now we'll see if the charger will work. It did last time, let's hope it works this time. Okay, wish me luck as per usual. So, as I said, there's 164.9 kilometers that we traveled, and with 54 still remaining in the electric tank, so to speak. And we've just been listening to Rebirth of the Cool, because as you can see, it says 2 degrees, but there's ice on the ground. It's colder than that. Cool is the operative word. Now let's see what we can do about that charger. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's charging! And this time I arrived with 23%. It's gonna take probably about 40 to 50 minutes, 40 minutes let's say, to reach 100, and then I'm good to go. This is going shockingly well. What can I say? Charge duration 45 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, 45 minutes it's telling me. So I'll stay here in the cold and the dark for 45 minutes, and then I'll see how that goes, and then it's on to Frankfurt. Speak to you soon. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is finished. 56 minutes to go from approximately 22% to 100, which is a little bit slow. 28 kilowatts put into the car, kilowatt hours I should say, put into the car. And now it's time to unplug and get out of here. Okay, it has been pretty good. This is my last charge for the night. It's been shockingly easy the second time, but then the first time was a bit of a mess, so this time it just feels easier. They say the second is, well, considerably. Okay, fully charged, 230 kilometers in the tank, and we're off to Frankfurt, which is about 140 kilometers from here, so we should be okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived, and just over there is the hotel in which I will be staying tonight. That was 144.5 kilometers, with 45 kilometers left in the electric tank. I was a little heavy with the right foot this time, so I don't think it was as efficient as before. And there was a lot of motorway, a lot of highway and autobahn as well. So that didn't help with the efficiency, but it was nevertheless perfectly doable. Never once had anything like range anxiety at any time during this journey. The weather has been appalling. It's been cold, it's been wet, and it has snowed most of the journey. So it couldn't be worse, but nevertheless, made it. Okay, I'll give more information when I check in, and I'll look at the data and see what it tells me. Thanks very much for following. Speak to you later. Bye. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the journey. 144.9 kilometers. Which gets me to this parking space underneath the hotel. Now, the good thing about this parking space, as I'm about to show you, is that they have electric chargers. Yay! I believe they're 11 kilowatts, so I can leave it charging overnight without stressing the battery too much. That is a welcome change from many hotels in which I have stayed. That's a nice bonus. And there she is. The e-golf that got me here. Nice car. Very nice car. Wonderful to drive. Short range, but doable, as we have just seen over the last few hours. Okay, I'll go to bed, wake up, do a bit of maths, and perhaps produce a report tomorrow morning of how the evening went, how the day went, and then we'll do it all again tomorrow. Another 400 kilometers. Okay, that's it. Speak to you soon. Bye.